Hello everybody, it's Enrique Garza, coming to you from my backyard. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and today is a really special day for me personally. It's a day that I think that I never really knew how big of an impact Martin Luther King had on all of us, our country, our world, our society. But I think last year, 1 year ago today's Martin Luther King Day, 2020, I did something that I didn't realize was possible until I reflected and learned that what that man was able to do, what he was able to accomplish, what he was able to change, allowed me the opportunity that I have today. See, today I work at Hopewell Middle School in Round Rock, Texas, Round Rock ISD. Hopewell Middle School, for a lot of you never heard of that school, was actually the segregation school where all the African American children would go to school. It was the other school. Hopewell Middle School eventually was closed down when they integrated all of the kids into saying that they all would have the same opportunities to get an education. But years later, they opened up Hopewell Middle School, and I got my first job as an assistant principal. You know, I shouldn't be there at Hopewell because I almost made a decision on Martin Luther King Day 1 year ago today that would have impacted me not being able to be there. So today I'm going to share my story, what I did on Martin Luther King Day last year that impacts me today, and hopefully will continue to move me forward, and hopefully get you to think about what it is that you're doing or not doing that creates opportunities for your family, the opportunities that were there for us based on the sacrifices made for the people that came before us. You see, I did something that I didn't want to do on Martin Luther King Day last year, 2019. I didn't want to fill out a job application. You see, I'm not at school today, and last year I wasn't at school either. I wasn't working. It was an off day. You know what? Why would I want to work on my day off? Why would I want to fill out an application? You see, I was still 3 weeks away from finishing my master's, and because I knew that I wasn't going to get the job because I still hadn't finished my master's, I figured, what's the use? Why am I even going to fill out the application? However, I was told by my wife, and I was told by a very good friend of mine, Catherine Gutierrez. First of all, I want to say thanks to my wife, Gina Garza. She's awesome. I wouldn't be standing here today without her. That I needed to fill out the application for practice purposes. I also needed to upgrade my resume, update it. So I went ahead and said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and fill out the application, because prior to filling out the application, I had a 0% chance of getting the job as the assistant principal at Hopewell Middle School. See, I truly believe that in order for you to have a chance in life, you got to put yourself in that position. I was 3 weeks away from finishing my master's. I knew that I wasn't going to even have a job opportunity or even an interview. But I did something out of obligation. I did something because it was my responsibility. You see, Martin Luther King sacrificed so much, along with all the people that followed him, that came before him and that came after him, so that people like me, people of minority, people of color, could have the same opportunities. It wasn't no guarantees, but to be able to open the door, to be able to say, I don't feel like doing that, to be able to have the option to say, if I do it, then now I have a chance. See, when I filled out that job application 1 year ago today, I put myself in a position to have a chance to make a dream become real. You know, Martin Luther King talked about the dreams, and you know, I've been fortunate to have dreams become real. I am the American dream from my family on my dad's side. I had immigrants that came from Mexico, and I'm the first one to ever graduate with a 4-year degree. You know, I didn't know these things were happening before me. I didn't know that they had happened when I was growing up. To me, I probably grew up entitled, and sometimes I probably am that way, just like all of us who live in the greatest country in the history of this world. Yeah, we have problems, but to me, the problems that we have in this country still are way better than the issues that other countries face in the world. You know, I'm an American citizen, and I didn't realize that the people came before us were held back because of what they looked like. And because of people like Martin Luther King, I was able to then do something that I would not have had a chance to do before. The fact that I filled out that job application was my way of saying thank you for the sacrifices made for me and my families. You know, I'll never forget the day I got a phone call on Wednesday, 2 days after Martin Luther King holiday, and I couldn't believe that they called me and said, hey, we would like for you to come into an interview. I got into the interview on Friday, and I was just grateful that I was there. I couldn't believe that I was there. The interview went great. I had a lot of fun. It was better than I had expected. When I called my wife after the interview, she asked me, how'd it go? And I said, I think I have a chance. When the principal called me a couple days later, I reminded her that I was still 3 weeks away from getting my master's and that she would probably have to wait for me to come on. She said she would wait because she felt like I was the right person for the job. I'd like to thank Linda Geringer for believing in me. I challenge you. I challenge everybody. You know, there are people that came before us that loved us before they even knew us. And they sacrificed so much so that we could have the choice to do the right thing. To have the choice to do it if we felt like it or not. At least we had the option. You know, Martin Luther King did say this, the time is always right to do what is right. So I challenge you, if there's something you know that you should do, but maybe you just don't feel like doing it, think about it as an obligation, because that's how I thought about it, and that's how I continue to think about it. Think about it as a way to say thank you for all of those many sacrifices that were made for us before we were here. You know, those people loved us and didn't even know us. You know, I have grandkids that I have never met yet, and I'm looking forward to meeting them. I already love them. I hope that maybe they can actually see this video along with many other people, because that's my Martin Luther King Day story. I didn't know who the man was, but I do appreciate what he did for me. He did say, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, just keep on moving. Like the back of this shirt says, those words. And the front of my shirt says, hope well. It stands for something. It stands for love, it stands for sacrifice. It stands for education, it stands for wisdom. It stands for love. God bless you, and happy MLK Day.